So I'll do this demo in two phases, okay, or two parts. In the first part, what we would try to do is we'll try to understand what are the roles that are available in cloud and what is that we are targeting. Okay, cloud lo em roles untayi manam deni target chestunnam. And second phase, I'll try to describe how this course will work out for that. And then I'll take any question and answers for you, because in the last two sessions the time for questions was not enough. Okay, so you can ask me literally anything, but just give me 20 minutes of time so that I'll put whatever I have to, and then I'll take any question of yours and we'll discuss on that. Okay, right, sir. So in the next 20 minutes I'll try to cover whatever it is and I'll open it up for questions. Okay, sir. So first, roles. So if you learn cloud, let it be any cloud, AWS, Azure, or GCP. What are the roles that basically exist? Okay. So whenever you're working on any cloud, you will have the following roles. One is solutions architect. Okay. Right. And the next role is cloud engineer, or AWS calls it as sysops. Okay, which we generally call as cloud admin. Okay. And then we have specializations. So let me try to write AI or ML engineer, data engineer, IoT engineer. Okay. So these are the roles on a broader note. There are some other roles also. Yeah, there's one more thing. Cloud security engineer. Okay. So these are the roles which you would see on a cloud, no matter what job, whatever job portal which you try to look out for. So these three roles, whatever I have highlighted, they are more common. Okay, because irrespective of your project type, okay, whether you are building normal traditional application, container based application, or whatever you call it, we need these three category of peoples. Okay, but if your company is doing some machine learning and all of that stuff, and then if they are using AWS services, you need the specializations into that. And then if your company was using big data and now if they want to use a cloud, so then data engineering comes into play. Okay, and IoT, if you're using smartwatches, if you have seen any water purifier that sends a notification whenever it needs a service, all these kind of things fall under IoT. Okay, and in this course, our focus is about these two roles. In this course, we specifically focus on solutions architect and cloud engineer or a sysops engineer. Okay, so what does architect do? Okay, let us assume that we are speaking about Book My Show. Book My Show is a company which is based out of Pune, and let us assume that they are running in Pune in their organizational servers. Now they want to use AWS, so we need some person who understands how customers are running their applications now and gives them a design or a plan to move to the cloud. అంటే ఇతను చేసే పని ఏంటంటే ప్రజెంట్ అప్లికేషన్ ఎలా రన్ అవుతుంది, ఆ తర్వాత ఈ అప్లికేషన్ క్లౌడ్ లో రన్ అవ్వాలంటే డైరెక్ట్ గా రన్ అవుద్దా, ఏమన్నా చేంజెస్ చేయాలా. ఓకే, ఈ क्लाउड आर्किटेक्ट का काम ये रहता है कि he will understand requirements of the client and then he gives you a design or a solution. Okay, so this is understanding customer requirements, proposing a solution to adopt cloud. Okay, so he can give for suggestions. Generally we'll have two kind of things to worry about. One is a project which is already running, the other one is project which is going to start, nothing is existing, then he wants to start. So for these two kind of things, you should be able to give solutions. Okay. And now, what does cloud engineer do? He implements and maintains the solution proposed by architect. Architect will give the design, and that is built by this sysops engineer. Okay, right. Now, let us look at the skills. So, obviously, he needs to understand cloud services. Okay, he needs to understand design aspects of cloud and non-cloud ఆర్కిటెక్చర్స్. అంటే సొల్యూషన్ ఆర్కిటెక్ట్ కి క్లౌడ్ గురించి తెలియాలి, క్లౌడ్ లేని ప్రపంచం గురించి తెలియాలి. సో he should know about both the worlds. Okay, so in AWS there is a certification which says that AWS solutions architect associate, solutions architect professional. Solutions architect associate doesn't check the second part, it only checks for the cloud. So just doing that certification might not give you the job as cloud architect. Am I clear on this, sir? సర్టిఫికేషన్ చేసేసిన వెంటనే నేను ఆర్కిటెక్ట్ అయిపోతాను అవరు. ఓకే, సో certification and job are two different things, first of all. Okay, right. Now when it comes to here, what are the skills that are required for him? So he needs to obviously understand cloud services and then he needs to understand automation aspects for cloud services. And for automation, AWS gives you two popular ways, okay, three ways. CLI is where you can use AWS from command line. So for example, okay, AWS, okay, let me see if I'm authenticated or not. Yeah, sorry, getting some response. Okay, now whatever I've done there, okay, the other way of using AWS cloud is, okay, okay, right. So don't worry about what this S3 is, we'll learn about that. But are you seeing certain things over here? Qt website, dec.com. Are you getting the same thing from command line also? Yeah. So this sysops engineer needs to know about command line, because whenever you do anything from command line, you can automate. You can automate, right? The second thing which he needs to know about is obviously console. Console is nothing but the website which I have opened. Okay. And then there is one more way which is called as template. Okay. So in this, if you learn only AWS, you would be learning something called as cloud formation. If you are learning DevOps also, you would be learning something called as Terraform. If you have attended DevOps demo, I have spoken about Terraform. So to create infrastructure, you use Terraform. AWS also has something equivalent to Terraform, which is called as cloud formation. So these are the things which you need to know. And then maintenance. So when it comes to maintenance aspects of it, so I'll try to write it as this: BCDR. BCDR stands for business continuity and disaster recovery. So when things go wrong, how do you ensure that your application is running? Okay. And if you try to look into this, here backups comes into play, here archives comes into play. Okay. And then monitoring. Okay. All right. So all of these things, what he wants is proposed by architect, implemented by cloud engineer. Are we clear on this, sir? Majority of us end up here. Majority of us end up here. And for the people who are learning DevOps, you can also become a cloud ops engineer. So your cloud skills plus whatever you're learning in DevOps will make you a cloud ops engineer. Okay, right. డోంట్ వరీ సార్, నోట్స్ రాయాల్సిన అవసరం లేదు, నేను మీకు షేర్ చేస్తానండి. This will be shared to you. Okay, right, fine. So now, developer. So do you know an application called as Dropbox? I'm quite sure you know Netflix. Okay, Netflix, any video which you are watching is actually stored in AWS cloud. Okay. Now, when you are watching videos, there are certain things which needs to be done. So programmatically, how can I do all of that? How can I use AWS services for that? So cloud developer is a role who works on changing or developing code to speak with AWS. Okay. So what are the skills? Okay. So you need to be a full stack developer with C# or Java or Python or Node.js. Okay. So even Ruby will work out and Go will work out. Okay. But ఈ రెండు తక్కువ ఉంటారు కాబట్టి నేను అట్లా కూడా రాయను. Okay. So if you want to become a developer, you should already be this. Okay. Right. Are we clear on this? So AI or ML engineer, he should know already machine learning algorithms. He should know about NLP and all of that stuff. And AWS has some finished services where you can do all of that easily. And then if you go to data engineering, AWS has something called as, if you should know big data there, and then you should know a little bit of Python. Okay, then you can become a data engineer where you will be using something called as MapReduce, Glue, and all of that stuff. Okay, and then IoT and security. We will be learning security, but we will not be learning security in a way that you can hack the systems and all that stuff. We are not trying to become that. మన సెక్యూరిటీ ఏ ఆస్పెక్ట్ లో నేర్చుకుంటాం అంటే, మన సిస్టమ్స్ ప్రొటెక్ట్ చేసుకోవడానికి సెక్యూరిటీ నేర్చుకుంటాం, అటాక్ చేయడానికి కాదు. ओके, हम लोग जब सिक्योरिटी सीखते हैं, हम लोग डिफेंस करने के लिए करते हैं, अटैक करने के लिए नहीं. Okay, so in this course we will be learning all the defensive mechanisms so that your systems will not be exploited by uh, the hackers. So but as a security engineer you need to know more than that. Okay, because here we will be basically using for known problems in our job description, but security engineer should be able to even work on unknown issues, something that might lead to disasters. Okay, right. So here he needs to work on data breaches and all that stuff. Man anta level lo we'll learn how to protect our systems. Okay, right. So are we clear on this, sir? These are the roles available, and majority of you will end up here. Majority of you will end up over here. Okay. If there is anyone who is already an architect, you're an architect, you know, building applications and all other stuff, then you can focus on solutions architect. Okay, so now that is the first part. And then how this course will work out for you. First thing is, okay, notes part. So every day, okay, today's stuff will not be present over here, but generally if you try to look at this blog, you will have notes of last 2 years. To be very specific, you can go to AWS classroom notes. This link will be updated once in 2 days. You will see the notes of last 2 years. So for example, if you scroll down to the bottom, yeah, so from 13th September 2019 till today, till yesterday, whatever notes which I have spoken about, everything is basically, you can see the notes over here. So if you go through these notes, you will understand to what extent we cover the topics. Okay, right. And then there is something called as foundations. Okay, so if you're working on AWS cloud, ideally you should know things about networking, things about storage, things about virtual machines. That we'll be learning in this course. But you should be comfortable with Linux. How many of you don't know Linux? Okay, so ఇద్దరు తప్ప అందరికి లినక్స్ వచ్చా? How many of you know Windows? Windows Linux రానోళ్ళు కూడా ఉన్నారు మనకి. Okay. So how many of you know Windows, sir? Yeah. Do you agree that you know Windows? Yeah. So if I try to say that I have 3 paints open, right? I want to close these MS paints, but I want to do that from command line. Do you know how to do that? నేను ఇక్కడ క్లోజ్ చేసి చేయాలనుకోవట్లా. I want to kill that process. Do you know how to do that? Huh? Oh, that's true, but I don't want to use that. I want to write command for that. Alt F4 is what you're trying to tell, right? Yeah. So, for example, I can do this ps colon where name hyphen like. Do you know this? Are you seeing paint is killed? Paint లేదు ఇప్పుడు మీరు చూస్తే. ఇది వచ్చా. So I'm not worried about Windows. I'm not worried about Linux. I'm worried about this. So when I say comfortable, I want you to be comfortable at command line. Let it be Windows or let it be Linux, because we are supposed to automate. And when you're supposed to automate, we need to deal with commands. Okay. So we need to learn those parts. Okay. So how can you get comfortable with Linux? Okay. So if you go to this, are you seeing YouTube icon over here? Sorry. In this, there is Linux classroom. I'm sharing this playlist. Okay. These are traditional classes. Okay. ఈ క్లాసులన్నీ వింటే లినక్స్ వస్తుందా? రాదు. ఏ క్లాసులు విన్నా లినక్స్ రాదు. ओके. सो ये क्लासेस अगर मैं सभी 39 वीडियोस देख लूंगा तो मुझे लिनक्स आएगा क्या? नहीं आएगा. जब आप यूज करेंगे तब आएगा. ओके, మీరు వాడితే వస్తుంది. So this is what you are supposed to learn, but I don't expect you to know Linux by tomorrow morning. That is not happening. So what we would do is we would learn Linux in a practical way. So for example, if I'm doing something in Linux, let us assume that I want to install something on Linux. I'll be executing 2 or 3 commands. Then let us go figure out what those commands are. What do I mean by that? Okay. But eventually what I want you to do is have a plan in next 30 days to watch all of these videos. Is this practical? Yeah. And then whenever you're using any command, we'll learn what that is. Okay. Because otherwise you will never be able to finish Linux, and then you will never be able to start the things. Okay. Right. And then the next thing is, this is for the people who don't know what cloud at all is. Okay. I've never known what cloud is. Someone has referred me. I've came here. So if you belong to that scenario, so there is this cloud essential sessions. So it has 7 videos. You can watch them even while you are traveling in metro. This is not serious. This is completely non-technical introduction to cloud. Asal cloud lo em jaruguddi. Okay. Non-technical introduction. These 7 videos, try to have a plan to finish in next 3 or 4 days. Okay. So that is something which we need. Here I try to speak about what a service is, what a resource is, and cloud billing is very much like electricity billing. We will be doing these kind of comparisons. Okay. So start looking into these things. Is it possible, sir? చేయగలమంటారా అయ్యి? ఖాళీ లేదా? Right. Okay. Fine. First we'll focus on these 2 things. The target is for this is 30 days, and the target for this is 4 days. Today is Monday, right? So by Thursday, I expect you to finish this. And you can, you don't need to be sitting in front of a laptop and all of that stuff, like how you watch any other YouTube video, even lying on the bed, but ensure that you don't sleep. Watch these videos, because all you need to know is understand the things. That's it. Okay. Right, sir. Okay. Now, yeah, foundations. And then class timings. Okay, sir. Generally, uh, for the people who are learning, how many of you are here to only learn AWS? Only AWS. Yeah. But the thing which you need to understand is, yeah, it's okay. Yeah. For for the people who are learning only AWS, I teach DevOps over here. So what I do is, you will be allowed to two topics of DevOps. One is CI/CD using Jenkins. The other one is Docker and Kubernetes. The reason why I do this is, even though you are learning only at AWS, I want you to at least try to tell that you are a cloud ops engineer and you are working only on these two tools. Ideally, you should know other tools also, but ఇవి పెట్టుకుంటే మీకు ఉద్యోగం వచ్చే అవకాశాలు పెరుగుతాయి. Okay, even though it looks like complimentary service, don't treat it as complimentary, it is mandatory. So tomorrow onwards you have to come to DevOps class, because because I'm starting CI/CD from Jenkins. Okay, anyway, if you are learning AWS and DevOps, you will come to that class, there is no doubt about it. But even if you are learning only AWS, for the next 3 weeks you have to attend DevOps class also, because we are speaking about CI/CD using Jenkins. Similarly, when I start Docker and Kubernetes, I'll try to announce in the class, and I would expect you to be here. So class timings of DevOps and AWS. Are you clear on this, sir? Right. Now, in addition to this normal classes, we will have workshops. So for example, tomorrow onwards we are going to learn virtual machines. Okay, that is what is EC2 in AWS. So once we learn EC2, then we will have a workshop on EC2. Okay, where you and me both will be working for little bit extra times. So this workshops will be generally on weekends. It might last somewhere around 5 to 8 hours. Are you clear on this, sir? So 5 to 8 hours మధ్యలో ఇది ఉంటుంది. Okay, because we have to do the scenarios. This will help you out in gaining confidence, understanding. Daily we'll have 1 hour of time, right? In 1 hour of time, you cannot do complicated tasks. So if I have to complicate task, I have to break it down into 3 or 4 days. But over here, we can do everything in one stretch. Are you clear on this, sir? Yeah, right. So when this time you have to attend DevOps workshop also, because DevOps workshop might be on Jenkins. So every month you would have approximately one workshop on AWS, and this time you'll have one workshop on AWS and one workshop on DevOps. So this month you might be attending 2 workshops. Are we clear on that? Yeah. So workshops I have added because I want you to be practical when you are trying to crack the job, as well as when you work. Okay. So మన ఉద్దేశం ఓన్లీ ఇంటర్వ్యూ క్రాక్ చేయటం కాదు సార్. Our intention is not just to crack the job, but to work at the job. Okay. So interview cracking will not, because generally I've seen people remembering interview questions throughout this class. Next 90 రోజుల్లో మీరు నా నోట్ నుండి ఇంటర్వ్యూ క్వశ్చన్ అన్న మాట వినరు. So there are two things which you'll never hear from me. One is interview question, the other one is real time scenario. Okay, real time scenario is a way for me to basically skip certain topics. Okay, let me give you an example why. Let us assume that you are working for in AWS for Netflix. I am working in AWS for Uber. Do you think you and me will be using same services? మీరు నెట్ఫ్లిక్స్ లో పనిచేస్తున్నారండి. You are working in Netflix. I am working in Uber. Do you think you and me will be doing the same thing at office? So whose is real time? మీది రియల్ టైమా, నాది రియల్ టైమా? నేను ఏ రియల్ టైం చెప్పాలి? Okay, so what we will do is, for every service we will try to understand different ways available for using them, and we will try to touch most of them. Are we clear on this, sir? So నేను రియల్ టైం అని ఒకటే కథ చెప్పడం నాకు నచ్చదు. Okay, so for that reason, what we will try to do is, we will try to understand, because you need to understand different ways of using it and how possibly different domains will use it. We will try to understand that. Are we clear on this, sir? Yes. Okay. Now, I've spoken about all of this. Is there anything missing? Right. Notes link also I've given, right? Okay. Right, sir. So there is one more program which we run, which is called as JYP, intensive program.
Sir, Pawan, sir, Pawan.
Yeah. Hi, Pawan. Yeah.
Hello, sir. Sir, if we only learn AWS, sir, will that help in getting a very good job?
Uh, um, I didn't got your question, sir. Can you be a little bit louder?
Sir, I'm saying if we only learn AWS, is that sufficient rather than learning DevOps?
Okay. So, how many years of experience are we speaking about, Pawan?
Sir, around 2 to 3, sir.
Okay. Basically, if you're a fresher, that's okay. What I would recommend is, rather than me answering that question, so is only AWS required to crack a job? That is the question. The answer to this is, unfortunately, if you go and search for AWS jobs in Naukri or LinkedIn, wherever they are present, you will see a lot of overlap between AWS and DevOps or any cloud plus DevOps. It is recommended for you to learn both because you can get more calls. But there is one more equation over here. So joining two courses and not practicing anything is worse than joining one. Okay, రెండు కోర్సులు జాయిన్ అయ్యి ఏది చదవలేదు అనుకోండి, that is waste, right? So rather than that, you take one course and finish it to completion and then take it other one. Okay, so if you are not working right now, okay, I would recommend take both the courses. If you are working, see what is your available time. I would need 2 hours of practice for DevOps and at least 1.5 hour for AWS every day. So I'm speaking about 3 hours, 3 to 3.5 hours. 3 into 7 days, 20 hours is what I'm expecting. So if you don't have 20 hours of free time, and if you're working right now, take one after other. If your job is only learning, మీకు ఇప్పుడు చదవటం తప్ప వేరే పని ఏం లేదు, రెండు తీసుకోండి. Am I clear on that, Pawan?
ఎస్ సార్. సార్ ఇంకోటి
Yeah.
ఏంటంటే బేసికలీ మీకు దాంట్లో అదంతా ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేశారు కదా సార్. అంటే యూ
Mm.
బి టీచింగ్ డెవాప్స్ టూల్స్ ఆల్సో, రైట్? లైక్ CI/CD
Yes.
విత్ Jenkins, Kubernetes and Docker. That is included in this course only, right?
And you have to attend that is not included. I will be allowing you to attend DevOps session. That is how it works.
Okay. And
Yeah.
sir, and sir, the class notes and everything, sir, I'm not able to click on that link.
So just go to your browser and type direct devops.blog.
Okay.
Yeah. And now which
Yeah.
link you want to click? Mobile open చేస్తున్నారా?
లేదు సార్, ల్యాప్టాప్ లోనే సార్. అదే అంటే మీరు అక్కడ రాశారు కదా సార్ నోట్ ప్యాడ్ లో. ఆ నోట్ ప్యాడ్ లో నేను చూస్తుంటే అది రావట్లేదు. సో అదే.
Right. Now you can basically you will be seeing everything.
ఓకే.
Yeah. Right.
అండ్ సార్ వన్ మోర్ థింగ్ సార్. బేసికలీ ఇది AWS కోర్స్ కాంటెంట్ లో మీరు అన్ని మెన్షన్ చేశారు. AWS మైగ్రేషన్, అసలు AWS అదే ఉంది కదా సార్, AWS మైగ్రేషన్ సర్వీసెస్ అవన్నీ కవర్ చేస్తారా AWS లో రాసిన మొత్తం?
అవును సార్. Actually migrations, there is a change now. AWS has stopped the server migration service. They are calling it as application migration service. So and we will be learning that. Okay. So topic wise అందులో changes ఉన్నాయి because we'll be learning the newest version possible.
And that's what I'm asking, sir. Whatever it is there mentioned in the AWS course curriculum, you'll be teaching everything కదా? అదే
Yeah,
అడుగుతున్నాను.
everything, sir. There is no doubt. So there are certain things where the specific line which I've written for that might have changed. So server migration service is no longer recommended. AWS asks you to migrate using application migration service.
So that
There are certain those things will be taken care of, but every time updating the syllabus for me is a little bit kind of tricky. So that's the reason I have not done that.
no, that don't update that. I'm just asking whatever you is mentioned, you
Yeah.
will go with that. It is
Yes.
even if it
All
is
the
the
all the
latest or not. That's what.
all the concepts, whatever are written there, will be covered, and they will be covering something in addition to that also.
Okay.
Will you provide knowledge on Kinesis and AKS? AKS, are you speaking about Azure Kubernetes Service? If that is the case, yes, as part of DevOps. Kinesis streams will not deal with that. Okay, am I clear on that, Lavanya? Kinesis మనం మాట్లాడడం, కానీ AKS మాట్లాడతాం. Do we have to learn Python for AWS? No, not required. So Python is required when you are aspiring for a developer role and when you want to automate better. So it is not a primary skill. It is a good to have skill. So at this moment, I don't think so. You need to focus on Python. How AWS will be useful for Java developer? Can you please suggest? Okay. So if you are a Java developer and you have to basically whenever you are developing applications, there are three broader ways of deploying applications these days. One is your traditional way on Tomcat, on WebLogic, or these kind of servers. Second option on containers. Third option on basically cloud provided or cloud native way of developing applications. So in cloud native, you have two ways. One is platform as a service and serverless. Okay. So you would be learning how to use cloud natively. That is basically what would happen, Lakshmi, for you. Okay. So am I clear on that? But for that, you should know already how to develop end-to-end application. You cannot say that I know core Java. How will this help me? Core Java, core Java, right? So when you say developer, I expect you to be a application developer, not just basic skills. Am I clear on that, Lakshmi? Yeah. Is EKS covered in the course? Yeah, EKS is covered in the course, sir, because Kubernetes as a service, we learn EKS as well as AKS. Okay. So do we have any crash course to cover in 40 to 45 days instead of 90 days? I don't have any crash course, sir. Okay. Um, the thing is, if you basically want to cover the course quickly, speak with Satish if there is any other alternative, so that the way that works out is for some of the people, what we do is if they are basically there are certain two cases that has happened previously. They were about to travel to US in 1 month, H1B, or no, not H1B. You want to F1, na? Student, yeah, right. So they were about to travel in the thing. So what they have done is they have joined the course for 1 month, but they have taken the videos of the previous 2 months. Okay. So my course cannot be cut short. So what you can get is, since we have videos, probably you might get access to that. Okay. That is the way that can be worked out. That is if you are emergency, otherwise I'll not recommend it. It takes three. Sir, one thing which you need to understand is most easiest skill in whole of IT is HTML. And if you want to be effective with HTML, it takes 45 days. And we are speaking about a beast over here. So it will take more time. Okay. Right. Right. I can understand, Srikanth. So kindly speak with Satish. I think that can be done. Yeah. Right. Any other questions from the room? No? మీకు దగ్గర ఉన్నారు కాబట్టి అన్ని
Yes,
అర్థమైపోయినట్టున్నాయి. రైట్. ఓకే. యా, గో హెడ్ సార్.
yes, sir. This is Srinivas. Sir, in this
Hi,
course,
Srinivas.
does it cover sysops administration topics, sir?
Yeah. So when we learn any service, Srinivas, what you do is we would look at two perspectives. అంటే ఒకే సర్వీస్ రెండు విధాలుగా చూస్తాం. We'll look at it in two different ways. One is about the design aspects, what we can do with respect to this service. And the second thing is how we can implement and maintain it. So sysops will be covered and also solution architect aspects will be covered for everything which we learn.
Okay. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
Sir, hello,
Right,
excuse
sir.
me, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Hi, sir.
Hello,
Hi, sir. Go ahead, sir.
sir. Will we be learning AWS of Lambda also, sir?
Now, I will be speaking about Lambda, sir, but I expect you to know some programming language to use Lambda, because I'll not be teaching Python over here. I'll not be teaching Node.js over here. Okay.
Okay, okay. And but sir, it was written in the course content. That's why I'm asking, like,
Yeah,
AWS Lambda.
I'll speak about Lambda, sir. But for you to use Lambda, you should know how to code. Okay.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, నేను లాంబ్డాని ఎలా క్రియేట్ చేయాలో చెప్పగలను, కానీ లాంబ్డాలో రాసే కోడ్ మళ్ళీ పైథాన్ ఫస్ట్ నుండి మొదలెడితే అది మళ్ళీ పైథాన్ కోర్స్ అవుతుంది.
Okay.
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 Yeah, but we will be covering 2 or 3 scenarios with respect to sysops where Lambda is used. So for example, for stopping and starting EC2 machines, for doing our automations, I can show you the. So we'll be showing you that, right? But you can
And
do many more things on Lambda if you are effective with programming. But if you are not a programmer, you'll have limited things which you can do.
okay.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What level of scripting do we need to have? So you need level of scripting so that you can automate the activities. The commands, whatever we have written in the command line, you should be able to write that in one script form. So for example, you should know bash skills very well. So how to write conditional statements, how to write looping constructs, how to call one command within other command and all that stuff. Yeah, right. So are there any openings for freshers in AWS code? Sir, first thing is, freshers, let me tell you one thing very straight. Next 2 months is going to be tough for you. Okay. So no company is going to hire a fresher and then you ఫ్రెషర్లు అందరికీ ఒక అభిప్రాయం అమీర్పేటలో ఏంటంటే ఇక్కడ ఏం నేర్చుకోని అవసరం లేదురా, ఏదో మనకి AWS వచ్చంటే కంపెనీ వాళ్ళు తీసుకుంటారు అండ్ అక్కడ మళ్ళీ ట్రైనింగ్ ఇస్తారని. అవునా? ఇదంతా అబద్ధం, భ్రమ ఇది. ఓకే, పెళ్లి చేసుకుంటే జీవితం బాగుంటది అన్నది ఎంత భ్రమో ఇదంతా కూడా అంతే భ్రమ. ఓకే, సో నౌ కంపెనీస్ ఆర్ నాట్ లుకింగ్ ఫర్ ఫ్రెషర్స్ వేర్ దే విల్ హైర్ అండ్ ట్రైన్. దట్ ఈస్ బిగ్ 5 or 10 companies. All the other companies are looking for trained freshers where they don't need to spend effort on training. Okay, so let it be any course. I'm not only speaking about AWS. As a fresher, for the next 6 months when you are learning, don't expect your company to train you on technology. You expect them to train you on the project. వాళ్ళు వర్క్ చేసే ప్రాజెక్ట్ మీద గురించి చెప్తే పని చేసుకునేలాగా మనం ఉంటే దేంట్లోనో ఉద్యోగం వస్తుంది మనం, లేదంటే రావు. That's the reality. I'm not speaking about AWS, I'm not speaking about Azure, I'm speaking about any course which you are learning. As a fresher, don't expect that companies will train you. That is a ground equation. Okay, this might change in 3 months, this might change in 6 months, but as of now that is the reality. Okay, so some companies call us, they try to tell that they want fresher, but they want fresher who can do these things. ఇంతకు ముందు ఫ్రెషర్లు ఉన్నారా అని అడిగేవాళ్ళు, ఇప్పుడు ఈ వచ్చిన ఫ్రెషర్లు ఉన్నారా అని అడుగుతున్నారు. That's a difference. Am I clear on that, Azam? No, sorry, Anil? Yeah. So you are trying to become a skilled fresher in the next 2 to 3 months. That is what you are trying to become. Okay, right. So any other questions, sir? Okay then, do we get any
Sir,
support to
sir.
get AWS certification? I'll answer your question, sir. There are 2 questions and then I'll take your question. So first thing is, the way certification exam which I want you to, if you are writing any AWS certification is, first thing, if you are not working right now, don't write certification. Certification is not necessary to get the job. First thing, right? The second thing, write certification when company is reimbursing you. Okay, every company has this policy where if you write a certification, they will refund if you clear the exam. Okay, and when it comes to preparation, the discussions which we deal in the class are subjective. అంటే మన డిజైన్ ఎలా చేస్తాం, ఇంప్లిమెంట్ ఎలా చేస్తాం, విల్ బి హ్యావింగ్ దిస్ వర్క్ ఓరియంటెడ్ discussions. But for the certification purposes, there are certain things which you need to remember. So once you finish this course, okay, try to purchase a book on any certification which you are trying to write. For example, I want to write a SysOps certification. There is no need for you to purchase, you can download also. There are a lot of cracked down సినిమాలే డౌన్లోడ్ అవుతున్నాయి, పుస్తకాలు ఎందుకు అవ్వవు, right? So try to get one book and go through that book. In that book you will not be learning one extra topic, but whenever you are getting a certification exam, there are certain things which you need to remember. So for example, I'm creating a virtual machine. While creating virtual machine in AWS, there are sizes, something like T2.micro, T2.large and all that stuff. So there are different series of machines. ఇవన్నీ నేను పని చేసేటప్పుడు గుర్తుపెట్టుకోవాల్సిన అవసరం లేదు, సర్టిఫికేషన్ ఎగ్జామ్కి వెళ్ళినప్పుడు గుర్తుపెట్టుకోవాలి, right? So these are the kind of extra things which you need to do. Okay, and what is the support? Actually we train about all of that, but what you need to do is prepare for objective. Okay, because certification is a multiple choice exam, and to solve multiple choice you need to remember certain things. AWS versus Azure, so to be very honest, there is no difference. Both are equally capable, both are good, but AWS has number of customers because it has started in 2006. Azure has relatively less number of customers because it has started in 2010. AWS is most widely used cloud in terms of users. Azure is most widely adopted cloud by enterprises. Large enterprises somehow are preferring Azure. This is the reality. Okay, now and companies have stopped using one cloud now. Okay, ఏ కంపెనీ నేను AWS వాడతాను, Azure వాడతాను, ఆ రోజులు పోయినాయి. So companies are using multi-cloud and they're picking whatever is best. So for example, they might take S3 from AWS and then they might be using that S3 for an application which runs in Azure. So we have hybrid cloud situation now. Yeah, right. Is it mandatory to join CI/CD along with Docker classes along as it is overwhelmed at this point? Can it be taken after the course? No. Overwhelmed means nothing is overwhelmed. This is required. Okay. See, one thing which you need to understand is you look at job descriptions, sir. See what companies are asking. Okay. Now, if you want to learn all of that, you need to give me some. You need to stretch a little bit. సుఖంగా జరగదు సార్ సుఖంగా వచ్చేది నిద్రే చదువు రాదు సుఖంగా సో కొంచెం కష్టపడచ్చు రవీంద్ర గారు ఓకేనా రైట్ రైట్ సో ఐ వాంట్ యూ టు టేక్ బోత్ ఆఫ్ ద థింగ్స్ ప్యారలల్లీ stretch a little bit sir this is for your career that is the whole point
Sir.
okay yeah
హలో
sir
సార్ బేసికలీ ఏంటంటే సార్ మీరు చెప్పే ఫిలాసఫీస్ నాకు బాగా నచ్చుతున్నాయి సార్ అంటే మీరు చెప్పే పాయింట్స్ చూసారా అంటే సుఖంగా వచ్చేది నిద్ర అవన్నీ సో అవన్నీ కొంచెం నాకు బాగా కరెక్ట్ అవుతాయి సార్ అంటే ఐ షుడ్ వర్క్ హార్డ్ అని నాకు అనిపిస్తుంది బాగా
రైట్
సార్ ఇంకోటి ఇంకో నాకు క్వశ్చన్ ఏంటంటే సార్ బేసికలీ ఇప్పుడు సార్ AWS డెవలపర్ కూడా దీంట్లో కవర్ అవుతుందా
No, AWS developer is not covered as part of this course, but we cover about serverless and platform as a service. Because as an admin, you need to deploy them.
ఓకే ఇంకా సార్ AWS API కూడా అంటే API ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ కూడా ఇంటర్ఫేస్ ముందుగా రాసారు కదా సార్
No, that would not be as part of this course, sir. But if you are interested, if you stay nearby, you can come to me. I'll help you out with. Not in class.
కానీ సార్ దాంట్లో కోర్సులో రాస్తుంది సార్ దాంట్లో
I think that should be removed if that because then there will be some developer topics there. Okay, so API programming will not be anything where you have to code will not be covered, sir. That simple equation adi.
ఓకే సో కోడ్ ఉన్నది
Okay.
యూ వోంట్ అంటే బేసికలీ వితౌట్ కోడ్ యూ కవర్ అవుతుంది
కోడ్ ఉన్నదని కాదు కోడ్ మనం రాయాల్సి ఉంది because the point is in this class 95% of the people don't come from programming background. So AWS developer I used to teach AWS developer for 3 weeks. ఆ 3 వారాలు పడుకోవటం ఆ 3 వారాలు అందరూ పడుకోవటమే సో that's the reason I have separated it out. Actually what would happen is if you are a developer I'll have one online program where we speak about cloud native development with Python. So there you would learn how, as a developer of Python, how you can use AWS, Azure, and GCP. Okay, that is a separate course. Yeah. Is it possible to share daily class videos? You will get daily class videos, sir. Immediately after the class, by 3 or 4, you will get a link. But for today and tomorrow, you will get the links immediately. But eventually, you at a max, I've seen them sending the videos by 12 to 1 o'clock. Okay, but sometimes workshop videos will take time because go to webinar, right? For 8 hours of video to make it shareable, it will take 3 hours because it does a lot of processing. So ilanti problems valla late avutundi ante. Correct. Okay, fine, sir. So I'll be stopping it at that.